essentially, and why we hold the things dear that we do. So I think that a thorough analysis of Greek and Roman history is an important aspect of, a fulfilled citizenship of any United States citizen. So hopefully you all agree that this is important information and we can all learn it. And there's some fun stories too. So with no further ado, we're going to get straight into the content. So we will now share. Okay, now let's get to the screen itself. Oh my gosh, I have an itchy nose right now. Okay, so the classical. We almost did it without the laser pointer. The classical Mediterranean, ancient Greece, and the Hellenistic world. Key vocabulary and concepts are highlighted in yellow. This I pulled from McDougall's Little World History textbook. It's kind of a fun little textbook on world history. I generally don't read textbooks because they're boring and lame, and I don't try to use them in class because they're boring and lame. However, they are full of really good information, so I will pull information from the books and then use that information to teach you kids. So I try to cut out the very boring middleman and replace it with myself, who's hopefully less boring than the book. So the classical Mediterranean world, in the context of this lesson, that would mean the Greco-Roman world. Greco meaning Greek, which would be this beautiful island, peninsula, sorry. This beautiful peninsula right here. Those are where the Greeks are from, modern day Greece. And of course, this other peninsula right here, Italy, which was ancient Rome. So modern day we call it Italy. It used to be called Rome. And those two peninsulas form the Greco-Roman world. In the ancient days, what is Anatolia, Anatolian Peninsula? There's a lot of peninsulas out here. 3 of them, very important to the Greek world. Turkey at this time, 500 BCE to 300 BCE, or 300 CE, so that'd be after the death of Jesus. So that's an 800-year span. During this time, Turkey would have been full of Greek people. At this point, the Turks were people who lived in Asia. They would have lived up here in what is now modern-day southern Russia. They would have lived up here, and they would have been Turks, and they would have been living in horse societies and nomadic style culture at this point, so they were not in cities. And so Turkey itself was not full of Turks, but it was full of Greeks at this time. So a little interesting tidbit of information. Turkey used to be Greek, but then the Turks killed all the Greeks, and now Turkey's full of Turks. So the purpose of the lesson, the purpose of learning about ancient Greece and Hellenism, I guess, essentially. We're trying to identify and describe the major characteristics of classical Greece. We're going to compare and contrast different government forms of the classical Greek polis. This word polis is the Greek word for cities. We're especially going to study Athens and Sparta because they are the strongest city-states in Greece and also the most interesting. Although don't tell a Theban that, they would be rather upset. But Thebes, although it's interesting, isn't as interesting to us as Athens and Sparta because Athens was a democracy, Sparta, the opposite, and they were locked in battle and rivalry for hundreds and hundreds of years. But mainly they're just the most powerful, so that's why we'll study them. We're going to explain the origins and the impact of Hellenistic culture. Hellenistic culture is any culture that has predominated by classical Greeks. or classical Greek literature. It's essentially the culture of ancient Greece would be Hellenistic culture. And it spread from Greece into Rome, into Persia, even into northeastern India, a land called Bactria. So the Greek influence spread far and wide, and it really affected the world in a pretty major way. And we're going to analyze and interpret that. And finally, we're going to begin to discover and evaluate the classical Greek legacy on today's world. The ideas of democracy, in a large sense, came from ancient Greece, although we stole our basis for our democracy in the United States from the Iroquois Indians, who did not learn anything about ancient Greece. However, we still use some Greek ideas. So this is some stuff that at the end of the lesson I'm going to ask you, and you're going to answer. What was the overall purpose of all this? Why do we study classical Greece and Rome? So you guys will give me a short sentence response about the relevance of this time period to today. You're going to answer, how did geography impact the development of Greek culture? So what was a polis? We're going to learn that. What form of government did most polis develop? Polis is plural for polis. And we're going to describe at least 2 different types of government. We're going to include Sparta on there. What classical Greek polis developed a democracy, and then you're going to explain to me what a democracy is. And you're also going to identify at least 3 contributions or gifts, if you want to call them that ancient Greeks made to Western civilization. Basically 3 things they did that affect our lives today. Woo. Cool little effect. I'm proud of myself for finding that one. Okay, review of the basics. So why do we study classical Mediterranean, particularly the ancient / classical Greece and Rome? So yellow, important information highlighted in yellow. Greek and Roman influences are the foundation of Western civilization, Europe, and the USA. So I'm just going to take this time real quick to show you all what I expect from you for the assignment, essentially. So what we're going to do is when something's in yellow, it will answer something on your guided worksheet, your guided notes. So why do we study classical Mediterranean, particularly ancient classical Greece and Rome? Greek and Roman influence are the foundations of blank. Well, they are the foundation of Western civilization, Europe and the United States of America. So they're the foundation of Western civilization. And that is what I expect from you all, basically. So we have government, the beginnings of democracy. They started the law. Roman law is the base of American law. That's why if you've ever been to court, you will see things written in Latin, and it's weird. Well, that's because it's based on Rome, and Romans spoke Latin. Art, literature, and theater. We still do plays. Plays are arguably, they originated in modern Greece. Nobody can really say for sure, but we know that the Greeks and the Romans were obsessed with plays and theater, and that is something that has certainly, stood the test of time. Literature, they were very into writing books. People still read the Iliad. The Iliad, oops, I should probably just get back into this. I hate how I can't just pick at the slide I'm on. That drives me freaking crazy. Okay. So the Iliad, this book right here, is still in circulation today. You can still buy the Iliad. You can still read it. It's still a prominent book. And architecture and engineering, the Roman and Greek architecture can be seen all over the United States. If you live in St. Paul, all you need to do is look at the Capitol building or St. Paul's Cathedral, and you can see Roman and Greek style in both of those buildings. And finally, we have philosophy and science. Plato, Socrates, Aristotle are all recognizable names today still. And scientists from ancient Greece, Pythagoras, I think, is ancient Greek. So really important people from there. Really important. It is essentially the birthplace of Western civilization, and that is why it is super essential and why we're going to spend a ton of time learning about it. So observe Greece's location at the map. That's Greece on the world map, located within Europe. The greater continent of Europe is right here. And within that continent of Europe is the island of Greece. I have a feeling this is getting to be a semi-long video. Let me check. 15 minutes. Whoops. Okay, I went longer than I wanted. Luckily for you guys, because this video is so long, we're not going to get much. You're not going to get into that guided notes much. So just answer the first bit, the Western Civ part, and we will pick up from here tomorrow. So have a good day, y'all. Peace.